This is Valley News Live at 10.
Good evening, everyone. An embattled Fargo bar may be headed for another management issue. Tonight's discovery follows yesterday's explosive city commission meeting regarding Africa nightclub's suspended liquor license.
Valley News Team's J.C. Dodd uncovered an incident at a closed restaurant involving Africa nightclub's new GM.
Africa nightclub's new general manager, Kwame Omani, is named in an investigation involving the Gorka Palace, which is no longer operating. On the 4th of July, Fargo Police Chief Dave Zobolski says police responded to an after-hours party at Gorka Palace, which is less than half a mile south of Africa nightclub. Early that morning, police found a large crowd trying to get in.
One of the persons trying to enter was actually holding a carry-in bottle of liquor.
The chief explained how no one would come forward to talk to the police except one man.
And at one point, an individual identified himself as the manager, Kwame Omani.
At this point, no charges have been filed, but police say the case is still being investigated and bounced back and forth between the state's attorney and the city attorney. For Omani, what's decided may have an impact on his new position with the Africa nightclub, a club that's on its third general manager since having its liquor license suspended earlier this month. One of those GMs, who is also their attorney, Stephen Baird, says now he wants nothing to do with the club. In Fargo, J.C. Dodd, Valley News Live.
Now, changes are expected for another Fargo bar, but not as many bars as expected. Old Broadway was one of 12 bars discussed before the Liquor Control Board today. A few weeks ago, this video surfaced of an altercation outside the OB involving a bar employee. The police chief says since management worked well with investigators on the matter, no action will be taken. City Commissioner Dave Pepcorn, who sits on the Liquor Control Board, says their decisions take into account the patrons, staff, and the businesses.
They are all, I would say, we are doing very well with that. We just have to make sure we're doing it gradual, and we want them to be successful, but we have to have safety.
What's decided by the board is referred to the full city commission for consideration.
Take a look at this, another tribute for fallen officer Ryan Bialke. This was sent out to us by the Beltrami County Sheriff's Office tonight. They're escorting his body to a funeral home in Bemidji. There's far more law enforcement vehicles than last night when his body was taken to the medical examiner. You can see some community members holding an American flag watching the procession. As we mentioned before, the 37-year-old officer leaves behind a wife and 4 children. Now, 5 federal charges were filed today, including unlawful killing against the man accused in Bialke's death. David Brian Donnell Jr. was arrested following the shooting. Court documents say he not only admitted to the murder, but apologized. Authorities say he was inside his home when 5 officers, including Bialke, arrived, and he wouldn't come out. When police kicked in the door, Donnell started shooting at them. Bialke died at the scene. Donnell was arrested a short time later.
The man accused of killing a 14-year-old in Fargo last month is now charged with assaulting an officer. 22-year-old Arthur Cawley faces a felony charge of simple assault of an officer at the Cass County Jail. He's being held there on multiple felony counts, including murder, after 14-year-old Jupiter Paulson was stabbed to death outside the Party City in Fargo. We reached out to Cawley's attorney. We haven't heard back. Raymond Gunn, the man accused in a deadly shooting outside a Fargo bar, made his first court appearance today. His bail has been set at $1 million. He's accused of killing 41-year-old Eric Hayes Saturday night between the Bison Turf and Loaf and Jug on North University Drive. Police say surveillance video shows Gunn falling backwards, shooting Hayes one time. Gunn will be in court again September 1st. Earlier tonight, we told you this person was identified by Fargo police. It was in connection to an arson case involving a car. We have been able to confirm with police that they have spoken to her and she is clear of the incident. That investigation, they say, continues.
U.S. Senate leaders have reached a deal on a roughly $2 billion Capitol Hill security spending bill in response to the deadly January 6th insurrection. The bill will provide funding for the Capitol Police, the National Guard, and other law enforcement partners to cover costs incurred during the insurrection. The legislation would help ensure the Capitol is protected in the future by paying for security upgrades at the Capitol complex. Federal authorities have issued new guidance to states and voters to remind them of their responsibilities and their rights. The audit memo addressed 2 main concerns: that election records are properly retained and preserved in accordance with civil rights law, and that audit procedures don't intimidate voters. This comes as Arizona Republicans are reviewing the 2020 results as GOP lawmakers across the country consider legislation making it harder to vote.
A Maryland federal court judge denied bail for a 56-year-old man charged with threatening Dr. Anthony Fauci. Thomas Connolly Jr. is accused of sending threatening emails to Fauci and other public health officials. Prosecutors are urging that he be kept in jail pending trial. The judge agreed because of the persistent pattern of those emails, which he called threatening and menacing. The Justice Department is seeking late payments from disgraced USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. He's serving nearly 200 years in federal prison after he pled guilty to sexually abusing more than 150 girls over a 20-year period. Nassar also had to pay more than $60,000 in court-ordered criminal penalties. The motion says he has about $2,000 in his account.